Mr. President, honored commissioners, my name is Anthony Canales. I do have some handouts like in the previous meetings. I was hoping to be able to give them to Mr. Fisher first, or to...
Please.
To who?
Right over here. Thank you.
Two quick administrative comments. I'm disappointed that we were not able to get Commissioner Kellogg's suggestion to form in Cabo. I really miss the margaritas. Secondly,
just think that way. It's warm enough outside. What the heck?
Secondly, in the very back of the handout you're about to receive, there is a technical report. If you could withdraw it so that we can get going. I'll do my best with 3 minutes. Obviously, there's more data, and we don't get the same kind of budget as the other folks, but we'll do our best. I'm sorry, which control is which? Gentlemen? This one or the other one?
Just a moment.
I have a dated PowerPoint that matches the handout.
Well, do we have a time constraint here, John? Yeah, we do.
Stays within 5 minutes.
Hold the time while we're... Hang on.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to give you...
It just has a date, Canales, and then 8/27/07. It had Canales on the outside and has a date on the file.
Don't worry about your time. We're resetting.
Thank you. Can I go and take a look, maybe?
While he's doing that,
Steve needs all the help he can get. Please.
Ask the question. Mr. Sorensen, an earlier speaker gave us, in fact, it was Michael Fry.
Do you want Mr. Sorensen to come to the microphone, Mr. Hanna?
That'd be great.
Commissioner Hanna, if you would.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask that question. An earlier speaker gave us a number of, and I believe it was Michael Fry, gave us a number of $30 million that's been spent to date. The number I read everywhere is $40 million, which is there, it's a 25% difference, I realize, but is there a true number?
Yeah, well, thank you for the question. That number comes directly from the recovery plan that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is required to put together for endangered species, and that's over, I think, a 30-year period. Is that right, Jesse? So, and is it 30 or 40? It's probably about 27. 27, Jesse says. So I think it's closer to 30 million, and that's over the whole 30-year period, which I believe expires in 2010. Is the current time frame.
Thank you. And I'm not even sure that even having asked that question, that's even a relevant point, because I don't know that you can attach a dollar value to what you're all trying to do.
Quite possibly not. Mr. Canales, are you set to go here?
I'll do my best.
Are the technological demons in control now?
Something on the screen is...
Obviously, this is a renewed discussion in regards to information regarding condor recovery. I do oppose it. I am representing myself. I'm an individual hunter here in California, as stated before. I'm trying to address the Commission's questions by the agenda item. The status of the California Recovery Program in California, if I understand the question from the agenda, the recovery plan goals are improbable in Southern California if non-ammunition related threats are not identified, carefully studied, and carefully mitigated. A traditional ammunition ban will not mitigate these threats, and effect appears to be significantly overstated. You can go to tab 1, please. We're only going to have time to cover the paper in front of you. Whoa. We only have time to cover some of the elements of the paper in front of you. It's written by a gentleman by the name of Alan Mee et al. There's a number of authors all related with Condor Recovery Program, including Greg Austin at Pinnacles. Basically, in a nutshell, what we're talking about is junk ingestion, junk food. In a nutshell, over a 4-year period from 2001 to 2005, you had a 7% success rate in chicks. 93% of chicks died due to garbage ingestion and metal fragments, which were carried by the condor parents to the nest. The condor chicks ate them and died. Usually, we're talking about either impaction, laceration from the metal fragments. One case, the animal was recovered. They tried to save it through surgery, but one of the animals or chicks that died of aspergillosis, which is a respiratory disease, fungal of nature. when you have 7% survival rate of chicks and 1 fledgling out of 13 over this time period, recovery program is under threat, and it has nothing to do with ammunition.
Mr. Canales, if you would talk over the top of your microphone.
I'm sorry.
If you talk right at it, it'll do what it's doing.
I'll move forward. This is a picture from the report itself. X-rays obviously showing bottle caps, wire forms, metal fragments which can cause laceration. Observations that I've made from the report. In other words, this is what Mr. Mee wrote. Condors cast pellets like other raptors. The issue has to do with frequency versus the kind of diet. The more hair, the more bones, the more they kick up. The less hair, the less bones, the less they kick up as far as pellets. Seems to be confirmed by Kofert in an earlier study. According to this study, all breeding pairs brought junk to the nests. 1 of 13 success rate is not conducive to recovery, as I said before. Mee et al. Did not report finding bullet fragments during the time period, either in screen material from the tests or in the condor chicks. Condors apparently pick up junk for additional reasons besides calcium need. Condor recovery personnel knew about this. Mr. Austin apparently climbed the mountain with Mr. Mee during the test period. He is apparently employed over at Pinnacles. You may know him, Mr. Sutton. Junk, again, kills by laceration, inhibiting food intake and growth, more than due to toxicity, though toxicity a factor. In one case it was zinc, high quantities of zinc. They talk about a possible solution, wiring the junk so the condors can be conditioned not to touch it or eat it. The problem is that there's no such thing as a shock collar for condors. Tritonix does not make collars for avians. Potential condition to condors, if you can over-condition them through shock, they may be conditioned not to forage for calcium supplies or the roughage they may need to kick up pellets. That's a bad thing. Puppet-reared fledglings have had problems surviving in the wild in the past, but parent-reared fledglings end up being fed the junk food that ends up killing the chicks. And reproducibility is part of the goal of the recovery program. Not only do you have to have the 150 birds to the 2 main locations, but they have to be reproducing. We have odd and miscellaneous observations. I'm not sure how much more time I've got. Originally, Mee was accepted after revision in May of 2006, but for some reason it was published 1 year later, June of 2007. It was published in a UK journal, even though all the work was done by American scientists in an American location for an American endangered species. And as I mentioned before, Mr. Austin is, an employee. There's information here regarding lead compounds, but I think I'm running out of time. If you have any questions.
You need to summarize, if you would.
There are other equally or possibly even more severe threats related to junk ingestion and lead compounds relative to insoluble lead alloys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Canales.